Oleksandra Matviichuk, who's the head of Ukraine's Center for Civil Liberties and joins us now from Kiev. Oleksandra, thank you so much indeed for your time. Of course, both our reporters there are saying it's actually the next step which is going to be possibly more important, because it seems as if the people in these areas, whatever they vote, Moscow is going to say they voted yes in these referendums. How much more complicated do the referendums make the situation for the government in Kiev?
First of all, I will agree with previous experts who told that it's not referendum at all. It couldn't be recognized as an electoral vote, neither on international standard, even under Russian legislation. It's not fulfill the standards. And now we received dozens of requests of people from occupied territories. They told that people with guns came to their flats and asked them to vote to join into the Russia. And they ask us what they have to do in this regard. And there is no other way how to help them.
I've also been reading the same thing about, especially in the Luhansk region, of polling stations there not being open until Tuesday. And for the first 4 days, there will be representatives going to people's houses, asking them how they're voting. I mean, I'm saying asking, but it sounds almost as if it's intimidation. How will you vote?
Yes, because like you can imagine from the human point of view how people behavior. The foreign army occupied their cities, and now peoples with the guns came to their flats when they don't go voluntarily to these so-called electoral districts. People are scared, and there is no legal instrument how to protect them. So we speak not about referendum, we speak about performance and about mockery against Ukrainian people.
However we categorize it, Oleksandra, Moscow is going to use the results for its own purposes, and therefore Kiev has to have some kind of response. Otherwise, do you not think that this is maybe the beginning of the end of Ukraine in terms of its territorial integrity? If Russia even just annexes the Donbass, where does that leave Kiev?
We have no other option. We will continue our fight for freedom and for liberation the whole Ukrainian territories. In 2014, very similar referendum under guns was taking place in Crimea. So it was happened 8 years ago. And Russia publicly ignored international humanitarian law and decision of international organizations. So sooner or later, this Putin's regime will collapse, and we liberated Ukrainian territories.
I understand that it will be a difficult decision for Kiev to take. But in terms of those Ukrainian speakers, even if they're Russian speakers, and I've read so much about Russian speakers in these occupied areas who still say, we want to be part of Ukraine. Yes, we speak Russian, but we are Ukrainian. But if there comes a point where people who vote no or don't take part in the referendum feel insecure, feel threatened in those Russian occupied areas, would it be Kiev's responsibility to say, come away from there and we will keep you safe in the rest of Ukraine, even though that could be a negative result for Kiev, of course?
We in this war fighting not only for our territories, we are fighting first and foremost for people who live on these territories. Because after liberation of Kiev region, after liberation of Kharkiv region, mass graves were found, torture chambers were found. We, as a human rights defender, have been documenting for 7 months of Russian aggression 18,000 episodes of different kinds of war crimes. And we know for sure that Russia deliberately exterminate active local people on the occupied territories, like mayors, priests, human rights defenders, journalists, volunteers, artists, etc. So we will never left our people alone, and we will fight for their liberation.
Oleksandra, thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. Oleksandra Matviichuk in Kiev.